Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford ZDC, and today I'm going to be giving you my full review on the Fanatic Edge Knives Omen. So, Fanatic Edge Knives is a company that is known largely for customizations that they do for other knives. They sell a lot of modded items, whether they do runs of their own or they just do a bunch of different configurations and resell them. That's kind of what they're known for. And this here is an in-house design from them. Now, I don't know who the OEM is for this guy, but you are looking at a titanium frame lock in LMAX steel, which you can see written right there on the tang of the blade. It is a compound grind. It is a flipper running on bearings. You have a really deep and aggressive hollow grind running through the center of the blade here, and from that tanto tip on here, however you want to say it, you'll have a flat grind that still comes to a reasonably thin edge, and you have a nice swedge along the back, helping reduce drag when cutting with this guy. So this is a knife I would never in a million years purchase. It's just so out there in terms of design for me. You can see there's still tape schmutz all over the blade from cardboard and whatnot. I will get that cleaned up before I send this along to the next person. But this is just something I would not purchase myself. Not in a million years. Black frame lock, black coated frame lock, not really my thing. The blurple's nice. I could take it or leave it, but it's a nice little contrast against the black. The milling pattern's nice, but again, like the overall handle shape, not really my thing. And then you're talking about a flipper only, compound grind tanto with a recurve. This is so not me, this knife. But I really enjoyed using it because it's made really well. This style of handle being as thin as it is typically isn't my kind of thing, but there's just enough room on here to get a nice four-finger grip, and if I hold it out in my fingers, it tends to be more comfortable. I did find this area here to be quite uncomfortable, unless I was either my fingers are really buried deep, or I was way out in my fingers, in my fingertips here. Then there was no like meat of the hand pushing it up, but being in the middle trying to get a grip on this really digs into your knuckle. So you have to be careful kind of where you grab, and you're never really gonna be like in this weird hammer grip on it, because that causes some more ergonomic issues down here. But for the most part, besides cramping my finger a little bit, this did feel pretty good in hand. This little swoopy area on the back, I don't know if you want to call it a thumb ramp or what, but it works good for placing your thumb, and there's just enough of a small choil area, which I'm sorry, I'm realizing I'm kind of off to the side here, that you can put the tip of your pointer finger here. And this is kind of how I found myself cutting a lot of the time with this, as well as just keeping my finger down like this, kind of keeping the pinky away to try not to crowd everything up. Excuse me. I promise this knife isn't that boring. I am just exhausted. It's been a long day. Getting on to use of this knife, as I said, it is fairly ergonomic. If your hands are a little smaller than mine, it would probably fit your hand even better. That being said, I wasn't super concerned with the ergos because of how easily this cut through cardboard, and that's the biggest use for me with knives, is cutting tape and cutting cardboard. So this hollow ground area in the middle is phenomenally cut ground, and it cuts so extremely well. You have a fairly thick blade stock here, probably 0.13 or so. If I can get my no, I'm not gonna be able to get my calipers out. So I was gonna get them out to show you, but there's stuff in front of that drawer, and it's gonna be more of an issue to move it than it would be to show you. It's a reasonably thick blade stock for a modern knife. That's not crazy overbuilt, but that grind makes it nice and thin behind the edge with that tapering thin hollow grind. Now, of course, you do have the flat grind up near the tip. That is definitely not quite as thin, leaves a lot more beef behind that edge, but still is ground well enough to cut effectively. In terms of doing push cuts, oh my goodness. Alright, let's try that again. in terms of doing like push cuts downward with that tanto point. It worked really well. And like I said, just dragging through material with this hollow grind was no issue at all. That thanks to the swedge on the back as well. You're not really dealing with the full thickness of the blade anywhere except for this area right in here. So being a small area, it's nice. It made for a really nice cutting experience. Let's get into some things that I don't like about this knife. Flipper only. You have a really pokey flipper tab. This is a tab that I don't think needs to be as large as it is. You'd be better off having a larger frame, honestly, to continue this kind of finger choil area, and less of an aggressive flipper tab. You could have this kind of squared off, maybe, and then you can match the frame on the front to line up with it, and I think it would look a lot better and function a lot better. Another thing is that the flipper is the only deployment method. Now I can just catch my middle finger on the hollow grind in here and flick this open, but I don't think that's going to be something most people are going to do. Those of us who just flick our knives like crazy nonstop, we'll pick up on that, but most people are not going to want to learn how to catch a grind with the meat of their finger to get a knife deployed. They're going to use that flipper tab instead. And then the other thing on this is that the grind, the actual edge grind here, it's really poor down here. I don't know if you can see. It's tough to tell how visible that is, but you can see all that reflection right there. That's unsharpened blade, and that's along the lines of the sharpened edge here. You can see that whole section. That's probably 1/8 of an inch from bottom to the furthest point up, just underneath my fingernails there, where this edge is not actually sharp at all. There's no apexing involved. This grind could have been thinner, or they could have lowered the I'm trying to think of the exact word for it. I'm gonna forget the word now, but the plunge grind, that's the word. They could have lowered the plunge grind underneath the handle here, or better yet, just extend this finger choil up slightly, and then you would have the full thinness of this grind at the bottom instead of having this unsharpened portion at the bottom of the hollow grind. That is just about my only negatives about this. It carried really well. It's not overly heavy, and it cut surprisingly well for the blade stock thickness and the compound grind. I was very impressed. That being said, this is a knife that's not going to be for everyone, just aesthetically. If you get the chance to try one out and it's not your thing aesthetically, if it's not going to cost you anything besides maybe shipping it back to a buddy or whatever, definitely give one of these a look. If you like the design, you're going to be really happy with it overall, I would bet. So once again, this is the Fanatic Edge Omen. This is, I don't think it's one of their first in-house designs, but it's the first that I've gotten to experience and handle. And overall, I'm impressed. I'm not sure who their OEM is or anything, but it's well done regardless. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my my take here on the Fanatic Edge Omen, and let me know your thoughts down below, what you think of this design. Do you own anything else from Fanatic Edge? And if I should look at some more stuff of theirs in the future. So thanks again for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.